So, without any further ado, I'm just going to introduce the head of studio in Bangalore office, which is from, is it Cerner Corporation, Alipta. And I'm just going to hand it over to you, Alipta, and I'm going to go quiet on my side.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. So, good morning and happy Tuesday. Okay. So, update from India, Bangalore, India. It's 10:20 p.m. now. Temperature outside is 23 degrees centigrade, which is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Cloudy sky. It was drizzling in the evening though, and cool breeze blowing all over. And I'm sitting in my room to deliver this talk. And I'm hoping all of you probably have grabbed a cup of coffee and enjoying the conference. Okay, so let's jump into the topic. Okay, so I think you must have uh, gone through many design problems, right? I think one interesting design problem is your life itself, right? I think everyone probably would agree to this. So, what it means to design your life, it's mostly about probably chalking out a plan and follow that, and reassessing from time to time, right? What is going wrong or what is going right, or where do you need more attention, right? So, in their book, Brunnett and Evans, they provide a method for evaluating how things are going in your life. Okay, so they offer a way to determine what part of your life are actually working well. Is it your health, your work, your play, your love life, or a lot of things, and identify what aspects of your life might need a bit more attention. Okay, or certain areas where the attention is completely missing. Okay, so then the authors describe how to create a compass around that to establish a direction your life should take, right? And they also say that there are many problems which in a life cannot be solved. So designing your life identifies such problems as gravity problems, problems that cannot be solved for a variety of reasons. Okay, so for example, you can never be probably a university professor because you don't hold a PhD degree. Definitely you can earn that, but probably take many years to earn that, right? And probably you have to go to a lot of social, economic, administrative challenges, and a lot of different other challenges, and then somebody might get lucky enough to get that position, but you'll probably feel there are very few openings for that, right? So it's a long journey, isn't it? Now let's go back to that classic question. Okay, probably all kids, you, me, everyone probably might have faced this, right? Okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up? This is a classic question. So it's a question which you're constantly asking our kids, and you're expected to have an answer for that, right? So I keep asking my daughter, and the response keeps changing every alternate week. Sometimes he says, "Okay, Dad, I want to be a chef." Okay, and the next in the next week it changes. Okay, Dad, I want to probably be a fashion designer. How that would be? And after that, she might say, "Okay, Dad, I probably want to be a singer." Okay, so okay, so multiple choices. All right. So designing your life is also one of the most popular elective classes at the Stanford, and it has been tried by thousands of students across the globe, and also through their online workshops, right? So, so I think it's all about understanding your life better and taking actions wherever needed, right? And really setting up some achievable goals. Now, when you talk about goals, the goal can be anything, right? The goal can be a professional goal, it could be educational goal or a social goal. Let's say you want to climb the Mount Everest, right? The highest mountain on this earth. That could be a goal. Being a world-class fashion designer could be another goal, right? Or maybe you could say earning money, a hell lot of money, and I want to become rich can also be a goal. And for some people, it could be like being a good parent, being a good dad, good mom can also be goal. So you set goal for your life, and you probably feel the path is very easy, isn't it? It's just about applying few methods, techniques to reach there. And I would say there are lucky people who achieve those. And so one quick example I'll take here. Uh, when I said lucky people, there are lucky people in life who possibly has got through the most difficult entrance exams for higher education, right? At the first go, right? Of course, they are hardworking, of course, but they are lucky too, right? So I would say the IIT, the Indian Institute of Technology entrance exams, and the common admission test exams for the IIMs, the Indian Institute of Management in India, are one of the toughest in the globe. So there are 100 questions from all different topics with negative marking, and you have only 3 hours. Okay. Okay. So let's come back to the goal part. So you decide to reach your goal. Now, what next? But then the situation changes, right? So while the situation changes, it makes the road very bumpy in nature and with a lot of obstacles as take on your path, right? And then the goals probably look very difficult. You probably feel, okay, I may not be able to achieve this goal, and I've seen people give up, and they probably move to a new goal altogether, right? So I think COVID-19 is also a situation in that way. So I think it has made the path of our life very bumpy and unstable. And I would say many of us are still feeling that emotional toll of uncertainty. They are already worrying about the dramatic changes which has happened in our life, to our habits, and also to our lives, right? But there's also an interesting fact I'm going to tell you here. So coming back to goals, so this is my last slide about goals. So some school of thought say that goals that can be easily achieved is very boring in nature, right? It's just a very linear path. You set a goal and you achieve it, right? But then goals which takes a lot of time, or there are a lot of twists and turns, you have to go through multiple curves, are more rewarding in nature, right? You set a goal, you probably face a lot of challenges, you fail, you stand up again, and while you go through this entire journey, it makes you be a better person, right? I kind of agree to this school of thought, okay, and I believe that if you have never experienced what is pain or what is challenge in your life, you'll not probably not understand what happiness is, right? So there's a contrast. You need to understand that contrast. So I think some situations in life definitely teaches you a lot, right? COVID-19 has taught us how to be more resilient, more empathetic towards humanity, isn't it? Okay, so this is me, my 4 different stages of life so far. I kept learning and growing as a designer. I probably intend to write a biography someday, titling "The Life of a Designer." And so it's a bit about myself. So I started my design career back in '98. Uh, that time I was studying design, and I started my career in a small startup, and later on off to several IT companies across India, and also have the opportunity to wear multiple hats and work for several Fortune 500 customers across the globe. So currently, I head a design team at Cerner Healthcare Bangalore. Cerner is a health tech company based out of Kansas City, US, and our aim is to transform healthcare through design, right? And I manage a team of 20 awesome designers in the Bangalore studio. So that's a bit brief about me. And today I'm going to talk about design leadership during COVID-19. So as I was saying that COVID-19 was a situation given to us, you must be thinking probably that my talk should be around situational leadership. Not really. So I think in this talk, what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to share my personal journey of how I, as a design leader, and has navigated through this crisis, and how I help my team also to navigate the same. So that's about it. So let's jump in. Okay, so design leadership. Okay, it's a new terminology. We have been hearing a lot about it, and it is a subject that is definitely not taught in the DE school. Okay, so what makes you a good design leader depends on multiple factors, right? And it comes from experience. And if you ask me, my focus has been always on three broad things. One is a vision, like setting a goal for myself, my team, my organization, leading by example, and inspiring the team, right? The second, definitely, I'd focus largely on my team, motivate. What is the best way to motivate them, supporting them when they need me, empower them, right, and grow them as designers. So, and the last was not the list is definitely the execution part of it, right? So, how do you, as a design leader, how do you help design as a function to succeed in the entire organization, right? So I think in that way, I'd say every designer has a story to share, the story that has made them great designers, isn't it? So there are great design leaders in our industry who probably have dropped out of college to make a career in design, right? And there are people who got inspired to take up a career in design after looking at the bad products they interact with, right? For them, the greatest motivation would be to fix those bad products, isn't it? And there are multiple similar stories around it. The most important part, what I'm saying is, see, above all these leaders are human beings, right? They have emotions, they have feelings, they have regrets, they have stories of success and failure, and these stories makes them human first, and then designers or design leaders, isn't it? Possibly this human element in design has made us more empathetic towards our user, and I think that is probably helping us becoming better every day, right? Okay, so coming back to the context, so the COVID-19 situation, right? Last year, during the initial days of the pandemic, I think on a Friday morning, somewhere around in the last week of March 2020, the entire workforce got an email stating that we all will be going to work from home for an indefinite period, right? And so mail from the HR came stating that, okay, please wait for further communication from the HR. So you're not going to come back to office for an indefinite period, right? So we all felt that this work from home is going to continue for a month, and really we might be able to come back to office in just a month's time. And a lot of question got popped from my team at that point of time. So how do I do the whiteboarding sessions? How do I do my one-on meetings with my associates? Or how do I do the design reviews? How can I have fun with my team over coffee? Okay. And fun is probably an underrated element in a design organization, but it definitely is a very important part of a team. So likewise, multiple questions, but with no real answers, right? And of course, later on, we all got answers to all these questions, but then that was the toughest time for all of us because we have just started, right? And I just started to hit the pandemic, and I personally faced a major setback during the pandemic. I lost few relatives back at home. I lost all my energy to work. I used to take frequent breaks from work. I became very anxious, restless, and I was losing all my confidence. And I was probably on the verge of quitting my job. Yeah, to be very honest. But then you're also a design leader, right? You're a leader who can really set up example for your team, and you lead by example, right? So I think being a leader, you probably have to hold that team together, make them feel comfortable and grounded, right? So COVID-19 has taught us a lot. It has taught us to be resilient, to be patient, to be empathetic. And with that, I can say that it probably a very new chapter in the leadership began to emerge. And I would say that as that chapter as self leadership. Okay. So We all know that digital and AI technologies are transforming the world. A recent McKinsey report says that today's workforce really need to learn new skills that would continually adapt as a new occupation emerge, right? So COVID-19 basically was a blessing in disguise because COVID-19 crisis has actually accelerated this transformation, right? Digital adoption has taken a quantum leap as both the org level and the industry level, and which further created a lot of opportunities for all of us, right? So McKinsey conducted a research that will help us define the future skill that a workforce will need for higher likelihood of employment, higher income, higher and job satisfaction. The research identified 56 foundational skills with 13 skill groups and 4 categories. Self leadership is also one category. So under self leadership, they talk about self awareness, self management. So be aware of how the world is changing around you, right? And how can you take actions accordingly, right? So self management, something this was taught to me in the business school many years back. The first step towards management is to manage yourself, and then probably you can manage others. And plus, you have self motivation, self confidence. So all these skills became very important to leave the past and move forward, right? So I started practicing self leadership to make myself stable, and these are the very few things I actually practice. Right, one is all about inspire yourself. Right, while the situation at workplace is chaotic, I invested time working on a lot of side projects, which could really make me a little motivated. So one of the project was building a house out of popsicle, which gave me a lot of joy. I don't have the pic right now, but I would love to share sometime. And some quick digital art gave me a lot of peace, gave me a lot of satisfaction. I started taking breaks from laptop and invested time in watching movies, spending a little bit of time with my daughter and my family. Then one fine day, I also decided to offer mentorship to budding designers across the globe, which is something I wanted to do always, but it got lost in the laundry list of things which I intend to do. Right? So finally, I started to build relationship with people from diverse backgrounds and experiences. I have meaningful conversations with them, gather a whole lot of different perspectives. So I started to cope up with the situation. The second thing I did is manage self emotions. So once you started to work from home, I realized that I did not have a fixed work timing, right? Plus, I had to face a lot of household chaos, right? Supporting my wife in cleaning, cooking, washing, sanitizing groceries became a part of my life. Yes. Plus, my 8-year-old daughter used to come at the wrong time and ask me, Dad, can you play for some time now? All those made me emotionally exhausted. I was feeling depressed, anxious. It was pathetic. So net, yeah. So depression. So this is one area where I want to focus on a bit. So scientists are starting to see a global surge in depression in somewhere around 2020, when 42% of the people in US reported symptoms of anxiety or depression. Probably the same has happened across the globe, not in US, in India as well. And this was a huge increase from 11%, which got recorded in somewhere in 2019. So how did I came across? How did I overcome this? So I started to meditate to control my anger and depression. So I started to write a lot of medium articles to express thoughts, and that really helped me a lot. The last thing, but not the least, is learn things. Right. The other part is also about picking up new skills. So this part basically talks about picking up new skills, leaving the old ones and really giving place to the new. I started participating in different hackathons. MIT COVID-19 challenge is one of them. I started participating in design conferences, design talks, just to gather knowledge and get perspectives. And later, I also started delivering talks. The one which I'm doing now, I gave a lot of talks last year in different conferences and different design seminars. So later on, what I used to do, I used to pass the same knowledge, the learnings, what I used to get from these activities to my team, and I really got a lot of satisfaction in doing that. So, what I'm trying to say is, all I wanted to do is to manage myself first, so that I could come back as a strong leader during the crisis and get a hold of my team, right? And yes, I could make a comeback, and definitely that this comeback definitely helped me and my team too. But then why a comeback, right? The comeback is to envision a teal organization, right? So, in this book, Reinventing Organization, Frederick Laloux first introduced this concept, teal organization. The teal paradigm refers to the next stage in the evolution of human consciousness. So, when applied to organization, this paradigm views the organization as an independent force with its own purpose, right? And not merely as a vehicle for achieving management objectives, right? So, Lalux distinguish is different type of organizations, right? Here with individual specific characteristics, and he has segregated using these colors, right? There's red. Red organization is controlled by fear. Red organization have a very short term focus, and but yes, it works very well in a chaotic environment. So let's say, uh, I don't know, maybe probably everyone probably have faced this. So some teachers in the school days in the classroom used to be ferocious, right? And more than respecting them, we used to fear them a lot, right? And probably that has happened to everyone. I'm not sure, but it has happened to me when I was a kid and I used to go to school. The next is Amber. So in Amber, you define top-down formal roles. You establish stable process, and there's some predominant, focus on very few things, right? Then the next is Orange. So here the goal is simply to beat the competition and beat the market. So be always on the top, and it is all driven by management by objectives. So from red, we're slowly moving to teal. The next is green, where the focus is more on culture, empowerment, diversity, and multiple other things. And here, our main intention is to uh, make the stakeholders happy. So everything is decided by the stakeholders, right? Everything is revolving around how can you make stakeholders happy, how can you engage them better, and stuff like that, right? And the final one is teal. So teal organization are characterized by self-organization, self-management. We have autonomous teams. There is no hierarchical pyramid. There are no bosses. So people probably would not bother about much about the job title. Definitely, they will have job titles, but they're not bother much. It doesn't matter to them. So it's also about how the information is flowing. Is it from top to bottom or bottom to top, right? That, and it's also about distributed decision making, right? So we intend to achieve that, but to achieve that teal organization by itself, uh, there are a few things you have to do. The first thing definitely is to build stronger relationships, right? And that is definitely, of course, virtually. To make an organization teal, there are some things which I did, and one of them definitely is build stronger relationships. So I think during this pandemic, I had hired many associates for my team, and whom I have not even met physically till date, right? Because they come from different places. They come with different backgrounds, different educational qualifications they have, and after they join my team, during the initial days, uh, so more than work goals, I started giving them cultural goals, right? Like in the first few weeks, you probably mingle with the team more, understand each other very well, right? And get to know each other, what kind of work they do, or what kind of mindset they have. And it's all about uh, started to feel motivated, right? And it's not just about yourself, but also about the company, how Cerner works, or what is the culture we have, and what are the process and systems we have, right? So And there are also few things which I also did for with my team is also, apart from having a regular one-on-one meeting, I suddenly asked my team to get into an unplanned call. So this unplanned call used to be just for a chit chat, right? And so the main intention here is to start, building relationships with people. And uh, and so it's not just about the people, but also make my new associates understand the org culture, understand our team culture better. And this was happening all virtually over the past year, and still are virtual, right? So what I would say is this stronger relationships definitely helps you a lot. Or these people actually whom are able to build a stronger relationship, they could go to an extra mile to help each other during a time of crisis, or when there is potential need, right? So some of the benefit I see, of course, from my lens, behind building a stronger relationship, which probably a step forward towards a team, is also you as a leader feel more trusted by the team. They are you become more approachable, right? And so any associate, any point of time, they can connect with you. And there are associates who have probably shared personal stories of their life, right? Which is awesome, right? And associates started to feel very safe, and they feel that, okay, we have a boss who is very friendly in nature, right? Of course, I'm not. I don't have that bossy attitude, so I'm not a boss. So that's a wrong, statement, I would say. But yes, overall, I think it improves. The stronger relationships improves the bond as a team. And as I said, there's a first step towards a tail organization. The second thing, what I did is about so is empowering people, right? So I think in a hierarchical organization, mostly decision comes always from the top, from the pyramid, right? So I would say empowerment, the traditional approach of empowerment is following that hierarchy, right? Meaning someone is at the top might must be wise enough or noble enough to give away some of your power to your peers, right? So I think today's generation of employees need a lot of freedom, because they are millennials, they're just getting into the industry, and they love to have the license to fail and learn from that, right? So their expectations are not higher salaries, but their expectations are taking a lot of ownership within a team. I think making people feel accountable, responsible for what they do, I think is a way to empower them, right? Earning trust, setting a career path, trusting them are some of the great techniques to empower associates. So I think as a leader, so these are things I've thought through, and I did a lot of actionable items or actionable steps, I would say, to start conversing with them to build trust, setting up their career path in Cerner, uh, not just in Cerner, I'd say, but as a designer, how do you want to set your career path, right? So these are some of the techniques I follow to empower my associates. I started delegating a lot of my tasks to my team, and I would say I provided a lot of freedom, uh, where they are free to decide things on their own, right? And they used to learn from their mistakes, solve conflicts. So I used to vanish sometimes, and they used to solve conflicts internally and keep growing as an individual. So I think after all, a teal organization is something where a self-management managed team means that there should be less interventions from a supervisor, right? So the next part, what I did is finding a purpose. So this is a famous quote by Albert Einstein. So if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. So I think what is the purpose of an organization, right? While many organizations have mission statements, but I would say most of them are hollow, or they are unknown to most of the employees, right? So I'd say in a team organization, the powerful drive is to do work that has a meaning and purpose, right? So this purpose of teal organization reflects the deeper reason about why org should exist, right? So there could be a few examples. So if I take healthcare example, I would say helping home-based patients uh, becoming healthy and autonomous, right? So that could be one healthcare uh, examples I can take, or maybe there could be examples, right? I want to use my business to inspire and implement solutions to solve the immediate environmental crisis, right? Or I want to, solve a very immediate problem, right? Let's say population problem, right? So having these examples are something that defines your purpose. Why do you want to exist actually? So it's basically let the org live for a higher purpose, right? I think bringing this cultural change within every individual requires a huge shift in their mindset, right? And I think to do that, you have to give your employees a lot of space. So when I say space, it's not about giving them freedom to work. It's also about you start conversing with them. You start to understand their mindset. You start to understand what kind of interest they would have in that career, what kind of new skill set they would need to learn, and I also identify what actually gives you peace of mind, right? Okay, so I think I am probably in the last part of my talk, and so let's focus on how we are doing today as our team, right? I would say we are still trying to settle down as a team. It's and COVID-19 has actually created a dent, right? I would say it's not just my team; the entire global workforce is trying to settle down as a team. And I think over the past 1 year, we made an honest attempt to move towards a teal culture. I would not say we're 100% teal or something, but we intend to move towards that culture so that we are self-managed, we are safe and supportive, and we have a purpose. So the purpose is also to make healthcare system better, right? And so I think I'd say I'm sure uh, I'm leaving you all with an inspiration to try and test out how does a teal organization actually looks like, and I would say welcome to the whole new world of teal. And thank you so much. So that's it for today.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Alipta. Appreciate that. Are you still working from home though?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And does your organization plan on going back? Because I know a lot of companies are doing the hybrid model now as something going forward.
Yes, so Theo, we have also following that hybrid model where our organization is telling, if you intend to come back to work, you're free to do so, but if you don't intend, please stay back at home.
Okay.
So
And
that's a
just out of
choice.
interest,
So the choice is given to the employees, like what do you want to do?
okay. So how are you guys dealing with the thing that I find? You know, I've always worked from home, and I find it quite comfortable, and I find it very easy. I find it very uneasy going into the office. And there's a lot of talk around the water cooler moments where that short little interactions with colleagues,
Mhm.
with it being in the elevator or you guys are on the way to a meeting, that sort of thing. So, how do you combat that? And also the rise, especially with design, is something that we're not speaking about, is like monitoring your own mental health as well. Like how are you taking stock of that with your team and also with yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I think my talk was all around that. I would say when it comes to mental health, I would still say that we are still trying to settle down as a team, right? So we're still not 100% achieved what we intend to. Now, COVID-19 definitely has created a lot of damage for us because when I talk about design team, I think design is something which cannot be done at home, right? That's what I feel as a designer. It is something which is always collaborative. You have to draw things on whiteboard to understand different perspectives, right? When you get into whiteboard sessions, a lot of different perspectives comes in, right? So I know there are virtual tools to do that, but definitely that spirit is definitely missing, right? So meeting people face to face and doing it virtually is a there's a lot of difference, I would say. So I think we are still coping up with that. I would not say we are 100% happy to be working from home, or continuing this for the next another 6 months or so. We all love to come back to work. Especially, I would say India team definitely loves to come back to work. But yes, so my short answer will be we're just coping up with the situation. We're not 100% ready for what you're doing.
Okay, and just lastly, will you be making any of your slides available to the attendees?
Absolutely, I can if you want.
Okay, fantastic. And where would they be able to get hold of you, Alipta, if anybody needs to speak, any of the community members need to speak to you or anything?
Well, I think I'm available on LinkedIn. Maybe I can share my LinkedIn account URL here. Just a moment, so that you can connect with me and you can definitely talk whenever needed. Yeah, so this is my LinkedIn profile. Just feel free to connect with me. I'm available.
Okay, fantastic. And what I'm assuming that India is still on sort of hard lockdown. I don't know. In South Africa, we have the different levels.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are allowed to travel, or?
I think right now the situation is slightly better in India. The cases have come down definitely. We are going outside, but yes, with a lot of precautions definitely. So that's the norm. And plus, during the weekends, we're not allowed to go out. That's during the weekends only, Saturday and Sunday night. But yes, most of the days, I've seen people roaming here and there in the shopping malls and over the streets in Bangalore. So I think definitely things are shaping up better for the future. Let's see how it works.
Okay. Alipta, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for staying up so late. I don't know if you passed your bedtime yet.
This is my normal time, so don't worry. Thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
the
so much.
opportunity.